and welcome to this week's episode of Think Tank Thursday. I'm Denise Killian with Trainertainment, and I'm so thrilled that you're joining us today. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors for 2025. Without them, we couldn't do what we do, which is to bring you Think Tank Thursday each and every week. So Trainertainment likes to take a break on Thursdays from the doing and spend some time thinking. So this week, we're going to talk about customer service and what you can do at your center to up your game and really create that VIP experience for all of your guests. And to do that, we're going to talk to Amber Lambert from Betson. Not only does she work at Betson, but before that, she was an operator and an owner on her own. So she really knows what she's talking about, and customer service is her secret sauce jam. So let's get started and see what we can learn from Amber Lambert. Amber, thank you so much for being here for Think Tank Thursday. It's always wonderful to have you here.
So excited.
So listen, Amber, for the few people that don't know your greatness and fabulousness, will you tell us a little bit about you, how you got started, and what you do at Betson?
So I currently work for Betson. I am on their sales team. I help people make more money with their arcades. But I got my start in this industry by building my own family entertainment center from the ground up. I also worked for a corporate-owned family entertainment center and one of the game card systems. And so I've kind of been on a little bit of every side of the coin. My husband's in the industry. My daughter's getting in the industry. So it runs in our blood. It's pretty deep.
It's a family affair. I love it. So I want to talk to you today about customer service. And I know that this is something that is near and dear to your heart. So, I say that you can have the most beautiful location, the most pristine, clean, fabulous place with all the things. You can have every game, the best food, the best bar, the best, all of that. But if the customer service isn't good, it doesn't matter.
100%. 100%. I could put the $1 million facility next to a place with a sandbox, but if you go into the sandbox place and they make you feel at home and happy, you're going to go back there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that our understanding and expectations of customer service has shifted a little bit post-COVID. As operators and owners, the struggle is real in terms of, and we're still kind of getting over that hump of having the number of staff that we need to really be able to do good customer service, but also as consumers, our expectations have shifted a little bit as well with customer service.
Yeah, I would say it's not always the quantity, or it's the quality of your employees and how you train them. I mean, as somebody who didn't have deep pockets, having that experience, that VIP experience for all my guests, that was my marketing budget, right? That's how I get those people to come back, is make sure that they have such a great time that they wouldn't think to go anywhere else. So that's why this is so near to me, is that it was everything for somebody that didn't have the money to put all the latest and greatest. So I had to entertain my guests other ways.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we talk about customer service, it's hard. It's a harder thing, I think, to train, because it's not just do this checklist, right? It's about the personality of your team. It's about how they interact with people, right? It's about the little things that you can do. So I think it is, for the consumer, customer service is a feeling, which is hard to train people to exact that feeling, right? So let's talk about some best practices that you can do in your center starting right now that'll help elevate your customer experience. So one of the things that I know you like to think about is the first impression and the last impression.
Those are the most important impressions, right? If you have a terrible first impression, the whole rest of your visit's going to be awful. And if you have the best time ever, but you have a bad experience as you're leaving the door, that's what you're going to remember. So having somebody that's warm and welcoming when they come in, again, like I'm going to date myself with the Cheers analogy, but you go to the Cheers bar and everybody yells Norm. Like that's the feeling that your guests should have when they come into your place.
Afternoon, everybody.
Enthusiastically greeting people. Hey, we're glad you're here. Welcome back or welcome home. That kind of feeling. Making sure that your area where they walk in and that first impression is clean and organized, looks nice. And then they know where they're supposed to go. Like, what am I supposed to do when I walk in? Like, it shouldn't be confusing. You have to take those barriers out of the way of guests.
I like to encourage people to have someone who has no experience with an FEC, right? And certainly no experience with the owners or the managers, right? Have someone that that can come in and give you honest first impressions. If I walk in the door, are the signs clear so that I know where I'm supposed to go? Or is there somebody there right as you walk in that can help? Oh, welcome. Thanks for being here. We're so excited to have you. What are you interested in doing today? Let's get you, right? So that if someone who has been to, I think managers and owners are the worst judges of their own facility because they designed it or they put it together or they work in it every day, right? So you really need that fresh eyes who can be honest with you and say, I have no idea. Like it was confusing. I didn't know where to go. I didn't see that sign because there was this game that was covering it up, or it
You
was
need
too dark.
you need someone else to tell you your baby's ugly. You're like, you're nuggets.
That's it, right? That's it. That's it. But that first impression is so huge and it sets your stage for your customers' experience the rest of the time that they're there, right?
Absolutely. And you mentioned on signage, like if you have a lot of negative signs, that's also part of your impression. So when you walk in and it's like no food and drink and no this and no that, and you're like, where am I? Right? It's so negative. Like there's a way that you can portray that, but if you have too many signs, people don't read them, honestly. So you just keep it simple. Nobody's reading your signs.
Yeah. Right. And instead of saying no food and drink, we love for you to enjoy our delicious food and our beverages, right?
Even if I can tell you from experience, even if you have those signs, they're still not going to read them. So you're still going to have that conversation with that customer and say, hey, we can't have this in here because of health code or whatever reason, So it's not going to prohibit that. So just having somebody there to greet them and explain them the rules, I think is a little bit better than having a big no this or no that sign.
But so actual communication and talking to people is better than expecting them to read signs.
Crazy.
What?
I
That's crazy. We should write that down. We should all right, but so you can control to a large degree that first impression. The last impression is a little bit harder to control.
Think so. I mean, I think having, it depends on how your center's set up, but if you have people that are close to the door, saying goodbye to people, asking them to come back. Hey, we'll see you next time. Thanks for coming. We appreciate your business. Those kind of things go a long way. If you have card systems, the game card, that's a little memorable token for them. If you have a redemption counter, making sure that experience is great because that usually is what they're doing before they leave. So your redemption people should be top notch. You should make sure there's not too many like small ticket choices where it takes them too long to decide. those kind of things are going to enhance your experience. And they're little things, but you don't realize that if you have too many 5 ticket items and a kid can't decide how many Tootsie Rolls he wants, and mom's getting frustrated because she's tired and wants to go home, that's part of your last impression.
Excellent. I love that. I love that. So I'm obsessed with the show The Bear. Have you watched that show?
Yes, yes.
So stinking good for so many reasons.
Hmm.
But there's this one particular scene that I am in love with. And it talks about anticipation creates luxuriation. Now they got a little creative with making up a word of luxuriation, but the idea that we should be anticipating the needs of our guests. If you see that someone, in this restaurant setting for the Bear, of course, if you see that someone's water is three-fourths, empty, fill it up. They shouldn't have to ask for, more water. Or if you see that they're shivering, you should adjust the heat, right? That kind of thing for a five-star restaurant. But I love the idea that's behind it of anticipating. Good customer service means we're anticipating what our guests need, and they don't have to come ask for it.
This is something that you do have to train your staff. Like, we trained our staff on how to read body language. Like, we'd have training sessions about that. We would look at pictures and videos and say, hey, what do you think this person's thinking? Because it's not something that they're learning in school, right? So you can't just assume that they know, what an angry person looks like, or somebody that's frustrated. Because again, they're a lot of times on devices, and they're not interacting with people in the same way that we might have growing up. So that's not necessarily a negative thing. They're bringing a lot to the table that we don't. But you just can't assume that your staff knows these things when they come to you. So teaching them how to be proactive. Somebody's standing at a game looking like they don't understand it, like, you should be able to see that and come up. Or if you have a little kid at your air hockey that's can't reach, there should be a stool and you should run over and help them, right? But just really being observant of your surroundings and anticipating their needs is huge.
Right. If you see somebody doing this, obviously, right? Like, you need to go up and say, "Hi, can I help you?" Chances are they're looking for the bathroom or they're looking for their kid, right?
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah,
it's about going from here to here,
yes.
right?
And
Head on a swivel.
the big thing also is looking for people that are having experiences. You see a lot of people taking selfies these days. Why not offer to take a picture, or um, the biggest thing we used to do is the mom was always taking pictures, and we would always see if she wanted to get into the picture, because moms usually aren't in the pictures. And
Mom's never in the picture. She's always taking
I
it.
love that. It was just little things that go such a long way.
So you mentioned a word that's close to my heart, obviously, since I work at Trainertainment. But you've mentioned training a couple of times. And I love the point, you can't assume that the people working at your place know and understand body language, know and understand what really good customer service is, because chances are the 15, 16, 17-year-olds, young adults that we hire have never experienced it themselves.
Right.
So we got to train them, right? How often, you mentioned the training programs that you would have for your location. How often is that, a one and done, or is it an ongoing?
It's ongoing. We would have monthly trainings, and they would be on different stuff. So it's not always on, sometimes it would be on, go-karts, or, things that are more, but you have to hit those soft skills, teach them about active listening and conflict resolution. And, I kind of looked at them as my kids. Like, these are my kids. I've got to teach them, and I assume they all come to me knowing nothing. And I'm not going to say I was always that way, because I told a young lady to go mop the floors, and then I look over and she's mopping, with the mop in front of her and walking like on behind it. So she basically got footsteps everywhere she's mopping. So, that one lesson in my life taught me that, I had to assume that most of my staff weren't taught basic skills. And so I always had to, come to everything as if I'm starting from a clean slate. So, we would do scenario training, role playing, how to handle a customer complaint, how to handle lost children. I mean, those are all customer service things. But also empowering your staff to make decisions, right? So being able to say, hey, somebody's having a bad time, you can give them a soda, or you can fix, different organizations have different like levels for that staff to be able to make those decisions. But to have to get a manager to make that little change. I mean, I was just in a session this last week about customer service, and they talked about how Starbucks, if your drink is not made right and you complain about it, they just make you another one. They don't ask. They're empowered to do that, right? So empower your staff, trust your staff to take care of your guests after you train them, and then let them do it.
Yeah. And it's about going the extra mile, like your story of the manager who came over and noticed, hey, there's something a little off with your drink, or I could sense that there's something going on there. I just want to make sure that everything's okay. How can I make it right? Is wonderful. Noticing the mom who's taking the pictures and saying, hey, can I take that picture for y'all? Why don't you get in with your family? Those little touches. Is that just extra little thing that means something to the customer. So making sure that we're delivering that experience is huge.
Incentivize your staff to be excellent. So when you see them doing that, then make sure they're recognized for that, because that will incentivize the rest of them to also go to that level. But the other thing, you also have to be that, right? So when you're on the floor, you have to set that example, because they're going to follow what you do. So if you're on the floor and you're not smiling at guests, and you're not giving kids high fives, and you're not doing those things, they're not going to either.
That's right. That's right. So even when you have the most amazing customer service, sometimes we're going to get negative feedback. Sometimes it's in person, sometimes it's online. How do you deal with that?
Oh, well, on the hardest thing to deal with, I found, was on social media, when somebody would go and put you on blast. I still struggle with that. Like I see our, internal groups and people blasting each other, and it's tough, it's tough to deal with. And sometimes you have to have one of your staff, or you have to step away if you're too emotionally close. Again, somebody's calling your baby ugly, you're going to punch back, and you can't. You really have to take it from a 30,000 foot level and be very, but obviously they're trying to tell you something. So again, there's a lesson to be learned in everything. So make sure that you're learning whatever lesson it is. Some people are just terrible people. So that might just be the lesson, is that's not a good customer for you. And it's okay to fire customers too. And that took me a while to understand too. Some customers are better not, hey, let me give you a card for the place down the street. We're not the right fit for you. And that's okay too. But most of the time, if somebody's complaining about something, there's probably a deeper issue that you need to sort out, and try not to take it personally. And that's really tough. So that's why you need a team around you to help kind of ground you and say, hey, this is not personal.
And I love, a couple of points that I just kind of want to underline that you mentioned there. One, it's not personal. So you got to take the person out of it, right? But being able to listen to, whether it's online and listen, our keyboard warriors can be nasty. Sometimes they are going to complain about something that is ridiculous or beyond the purview of the location, right? Like I went there and the power went out. It was a tornado a block and a half away. Like, right? Like, really, really, there's some times where it's ridiculous, but sometimes not so much. And how you respond to the negative, I think, is more important than how you respond to the positive. And finding that way to be able to be gracious, have grace, listen, and move forward.
And this is a great segue to use like AI, right? So you can put your very angry response in AI and say, hey, soften this up for me. So this is a great space for that kind of thing, because then it's going to be a lot softer and that does take the personal out of it.
Absolutely. I'm a fan of, I call it the verbal vomit. So sometimes I need to just go in a room, shut the door, say all of the things. Whew, I feel better. Okay, now we can have this conversation, right? And AI is that, you can say all of the things and ask AI, make this professional and not so harsh, and it will give you something back that is useful and productive as opposed to just ranting.
Well, and then in face-to-face customer feedback, sometimes you'll get a customer complaining, and you have to realize that it's not everybody meshes, right? So sometimes people would come to me, I didn't wear a different uniform than my staff, and they'd be like, I want to talk to your manager, right? I was like, okay, I'd go get the manager. Like they didn't know I was the owner. And sometimes it would be the other way around. So if that person, if you're not getting through to them and they just don't want to hear what you have to say, don't take that personal and escalate it. Let somebody else deal with it. It's okay to hand that off.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's that self-awareness and realizing, oh, my tone is not what it needs to be right now. I'm making the face that I shouldn't make. I'm going to have somebody else come talk to you, and it's okay to do that as well.
People are more likely to give negative feedback than positive feedback. So really, when your staff is giving those VIP experiences, have them ask for those positive reviews, right? So, you just rounded some kid up 100 tickets and his mom is so happy and he got the prize he wanted. I'd be like, hey, if you had a great time, why don't you go throw us a quick review, maybe even have a QR code they can scan to make it easy for them to do that.
That's great. I love that. I love that. Okay, Amber, first and last impressions, huge, massive. Make sure you're paying attention to those. Um, Training your staff to be observant and anticipate the needs of our customers. And it's not a one and done, that's a regular training, regular feedback. As the manager, owner, leader, you should be exemplifying the traits that you want your team to emulate when you're out on the floor, making sure that we're going that extra mile, not just when they walk in and walk out, but while they're in the facility, and being able to handle both the positive and the negative, whether it's face to face or online, is going to help elevate your customer service game. So I love these tips. These are fantastic. And listen, I cannot amen, sister. Use AI when you have no idea how to respond to something, right? So that'll at least give you a starting point. So that's a great tip. Amber, how can people get in touch with you or Betson?
So personally, Lambert at Betson.com. I'm also on all the social media channels. You can find me. You can go to Betson.com for just anything Betson. So when you're ready to make more money with your game room, let us know. And I'll see everybody at shows. I'm always there.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, we're going to end with a Trainertainment question. We're all about growth at Trainertainment, growing ourselves, growing our teams, growing others, growing our business. What do you do, Amber, to grow your team? What do you do to grow others?
So I don't really have a lot of team under me, but I work with a lot of people, and I try to live by the mantra rise by lifting others. So I'm always looking to see who else around me might need help and who I can lift up. And I know that that's what helps encourage me as well.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. Rise by lifting others. Well, Amber, I've risen from hearing you and being able to talk about customer service, and I know our viewers have as well. So thank you so much for your time and your thoughts. You can get a hold of Amber at Betson or at a Lambert at Betson.com. Thank you for your time and appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you again soon. You know, anytime I get to talk to Amber Lambert, I always step away with some new insight or some new idea or a reminder of something that I know is important, but gosh, maybe I've forgotten about it or let it fall to the back burner. But my big takeaway from today is with customer service and helping your staff understand what that should look like is we can't assume that our team knows what good customer service should look like and that we've got to train it consistently and we've got to be the models of it out on the floor at our center. So thanks to Amber. I always appreciate having her on and getting her insights. She's got so much to offer. So thanks, Amber. And thank you to our 2025 sponsors. We appreciate them for what they do and definitely for allowing us to bring you Think Tank Thursday each and every week. If you have a Think Tank idea, I want to hear from you. If you want to be a guest, I want to hear from you. Just reach out to me at Denise@trainertainment.net and let me know your thoughts. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Think Tank Thursday. Remember, the journey to success is all about growth. And here at Trainertainment, we're committed to your growth for yourself, for your team, and for your company. So visit trainertainment.net to learn how we can support your growth journey and set up a free growth call for one of our coaches. So until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving for the extraordinary.
Playthrough is an online scoring system for mini golf courses. Simply post a QR code near the first hole. Golfers scan it with any mobile phone, add their golfers, and start entering scores. They can easily view their group leaderboard or the course leaderboards. Playthrough also includes features like whole sponsor logos and whole transition ads to help grow your business. Visit playthroughmini.com to see what else Playthrough can do.